Coming soon to Leadership Plus.
I train my people to fight against bad government.
Was that like Taekwondo or Jiu-Jitsu or MMA or something?
You gonna be my karate teacher?
Let's begin. Strike first. Strike fast. Make policy.
Yes, Sensei.
Oh. Paper shredder's broke. Remember, use proper form when handing over papers. I've trained for this my whole life.
Axe on. Axe off. Push.
Hi. 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 Hi.
For fans of Peaky Blinders, comes a Leadership Plus original, so British it comes from the BBC. No, not that one. This BBC. Watch as a Rochester mayor takes on the role of a lifetime in a British 1920s crime drama.
Put some ice on them!
And we have heard terrible things.
What? What you staring at me for?
Hello, Governor. You bloody blokes better get cracking.
You know you're supposed to be British, right?
Jolly good show, lads. You're doing a good job.
Not quite.
Throw a ship on the bobby, mate.
That's Australian.
Groovy, baby.
Okay, now you're just doing Austin Powers.
Groovy, baby.
Try taking a page from Tom Hardy's Book of Acting.
Are you gonna shoot him because this man is evil?
Your head is like some sort of smashed vase what has been stuck back together by an horse.
That there, right, is the Southern Counties welterweight champion.
Ah, stay gold, Tommy boy.
Make sure you get the bloke and blur going. Pip, chip, pip, pip, and cheerio. You gotta get the thing going on the going down.
There it is. Binge watch your way through a series that will make you appreciate leaving the captions on.
As a god, Tommy, right, I am now able to just rise above those kinds of insults, man.
Cheeky liners.
By the order of the Peaky Blinders.
Whoa, easy, mate. A for effort, but we have young leaders watching.
Oh, my freaking ears!
The district runs so smoothly. He must be magic.
No, I'm just your everyday, ordinary superintendent.
You're like a walking computer. And no one can process the data quite like you do, pal.
Would you be so good as to tell me what it is we do here?
We make sure every child has a high-quality education and feels safe, valued, and respected. Hey guys, this is a place of learning. Why don't you just read a book?
You are familiar with the thought experiment that ship of Theseus in the field of identity metaphysics.
There you go.
Ooh, seriously, the web address too?
Special thanks go out to Jason Dale and Dan Kessler at Rochester Hills TV for producing the video. As you can tell, they have a lot of fun doing this, as well as the mayors. If you have any questions, on your table are cards and pens that came in from one of our sponsors. Any questions for any of the panelists, just write the questions down. We'll have people circulating the room, picking up any of those questions to give to the panelists and to have your questions answered. So it is my privilege and honor to introduce our moderator for today, who is a past president of the Rochester Regional Chamber. Some very difficult shoes for me to follow in, but she is definitely a community leader, someone who's been active throughout this whole community. She assists several community organizations, including Rochester Auburn Hills Coalition for the Prevention of Substance Abuse, the North Oakland Community Coalition, and Oakland County Coordinating Council Against Domestic Violence, and more. In 2019, she was honored to work with her in the Community Board of Directors as she served as the board chair. Please welcome the Honorable Judge Julie Nicholson.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Vince. At this point in time, I'm going to ask all the panelists if you'd please come on up to the stage and the podium before I begin the introductions. I think we can agree that after watching that video that they should all probably keep their day jobs. None of you guys should be going to Hollywood. Come on up, if you want, just come on up on the stage. Okay, it's... First, we have Mr. Dominic Abadi, who is the Oakland County Township Supervisor. Dominic has lived in Oakland Township for 50 years. He was elected supervisor in 2020. As a professional architect, he has also volunteered on various committees to prepare for upcoming development in the township. He previously served on the Board of Trustees for 16 years. He helped ensure that the rural feel and character of the township was preserved. He and his wife raised 4 children in Oakland Township. They love Oakland Township and enjoy the lifestyle it offers. Welcome, Mr. Abadi. Next we have Brian Barnett, Mayor of the City of Rochester Hills. Brian Barnett has served as Rochester Hills Mayor for 15 years and is the longest-serving mayor in the history of the city. Mayor Barnett's administration has received local, national, and international recognition for innovation, fiscal responsibility, operational excellence, and environmental leadership. In 2020, the mayor completed his historic term as 77th President of the United States Conference of Mayors, which is the official nonpartisan organization of cities with populations of 30,000 or more. Mayor Barnett is one of only 6 mayors from Michigan to ever become president of the conference since its inception in 1932. Mayor Barnett's vision for Rochester Hills is to be a preeminent place in America to live, work, and raise a family. Welcome, Mayor Barnett. Next, we have the mayor for the city of Rochester, Stuart Bixson. Mr. Bixson is currently an economics and government teacher at Waterford Mott High School. He was first elected to the Rochester City Council in 1999. A steady leader, he has been elected to 7 consecutive terms in office. He currently lives in the city of Rochester with his wife, Maria. Welcome. And last but not least is Dr. Robert Shaner, who has served as the superintendent for the Rochester Community School District since 2013, where he provides executive management for 13 elementary schools, 4 middle schools, 3 comprehensive high schools, 1 alternative high school, the RCS Virtual Campus, and the RCS Caring Steps Children's Center. He was recognized as the 2020 Superintendent of the Year by the Michigan Association of Superintendents and Administrators. Please welcome Dr. Robert Shaner. Hey, just another quick reminder. I know Vince already covered this, but again, you do have the note cards on your tables, so please feel free to write any questions that you would like to ask the panelists. Volunteers will be picking them up shortly. All right, gentlemen, it is an understatement to say that a tremendous amount has happened since we were physically together 2 years ago. And I know this may be difficult for you, but let's give it a try. In about 2 or 3 minutes, can you identify your community or your organization's most important achievement since we Zoomed together last year in 2021? And we're going to go ahead and start with Dr. Shaner and then work our way to Mr. Abadi.
Boy, that's a tough question. Try to think of the history of the last 2 years and all that we've been through. I think, first of all, most importantly, I know we as a school community owe the entire room a debt of gratitude for your support as we endeavored on a very difficult undertaking of switching to remote learning, making sure the community was fed, making sure that we were supporting everyone the way we could and to educate kids to the best of our ability. And also on a personal level, for those of you know that my family has suffered a terrible tragedy. There's so many friends in this room that this is the first time that I've seen you since that happened, and I want to, from the bottom of my heart, extend my thanks for your support and all of God's grace that you've shown us. You know, I'm very, very lucky at Rochester Community Schools to work with a team of human beings that are unlike any other that I've worked with, maybe with the exception of the Marines that I served with. They're dedicated to the mission of the organization and serving kids each and every day and extending love to them. I think there's so many accomplishments, you know, when you think of the last year of all the ups and downs, but staying focused on kids, staying focused on our mission, doing the very best we can in a very arduous situation, and continuing to stay future focused on making sure we're meeting the emotional needs of our students and our staff is incredibly important. You know, from our staff, you think about it from our support staff, our bus drivers, our food service workers, our custodians. Everyone in every industry is suffering a manpower, a woman power crisis in terms of finding people to do those jobs. And our people stick with us each and every day in the service of kids. And I think that is our number one accomplishment is us serving the community as a community.
Okay, great, thank you. Mayor Bixson?
Well, that's a tough one to follow. Well, one of the first things that happened since we were here 2 years ago, I think, is Michigan beat Ohio State. So that was a pretty big thing, right? But, you know, it was a difficult 2 years in our town, the city of Rochester. I believe our city came together and our city government came together to really help our residents in our downtown make it through these difficult times. We did everything we could. We had free parking. We got together with the DDA. We had Love Local programs. We kept our taxes down. We didn't have a special assessment for the downtown. I think the city did everything we can to help our residents and to help our businesses. And as I said in the press conference, I think Rochester's back. We had our first year, we had big bright lights, we had lagniappe, we had caroling in the street, we had snow glow, which kind of took the place of our other winter things. We had fireworks downtown, and what we talked about in the press conference a little bit is things are really booming in Rochester. And a couple of things that I just want to talk about. We have a couple new projects coming in. The Riverwalk, which is going to be 150 apartments, townhouses right downtown underneath the bridge on the south side of town. It's coming into town. We have Par Pharmaceutical, who did a 100,000 square foot warehouse. Means they're committing to our town. That's our largest employer. So that was important. And we have some other new businesses coming downtown. Our restaurants are crowded. Our businesses are booming. So we really think we made it through the difficult times. I'm very proud of what our city's done, what our residents have done, what our businesses. And as you say, if you go downtown Friday night, any night, it's booming. So we're really proud of that. I think we made it through the difficult times, and now we're looking for big growth in the future.
Okay, thank you. Mayor Barnett.
Good morning, everyone. There we are. Sorry. Did you do that, Stuart?
I thought about it.
Good morning, everyone. It's nice to see a full room again. The last 2 years have been probably the craziest, not just for the folks on the stage, but for all of you too. No one had a game plan going into what we were about to experience. And I want to give a quick shout out to Dr. Shaner, the superintendent, school board, and all those associated with Rochester Community Schools. We are 3 strong communities, in large part because we have great schools. Most of the folks that move to our community move for one of 2 reasons: the school system or the reputation of our community. I'm proud of both. And in my community, both Rochester and the Avondale School District. So thank you, Dr. Shaner, and all those associated with the Board of Education. In our school, in our city, I mentioned this at the press conference today, and we really looked at two factions, 2 things that we needed to do. We needed to take care of our residents, first and foremost, and we needed to make sure that our businesses were all right as well. And when it came to taking care of our residents, I'm exceptionally proud we have a good group of people from the city of Rochester Hills. I think we have the best municipal team in government. I apologize to my colleagues on the right and left, but we immediately pivoted and began calling every resident in our city over the age of 70. As soon as the pandemic hit, we made thousands, tens of thousands of calls every week to just connect with our residents. Because one of the things we were worried about during the pandemic was isolation, specifically among our seniors that live alone. And so we began just living open-handedly and calling our folks just to connect with them. And then, of course, we transitioned to supporting our business community. And as I mentioned this morning, through a variety of ways that our planning and economic development team worked, really proud to announce 2 years ago today, we went into this just about March 1st, we had unemployment numbers and vacancy numbers. Unemployment was 2.9. Today it's 2.7. More of our people working now after 2 years of a pandemic than before. And our vacancy rate was 5.5, now 4.4. More businesses in the city post-pandemic than pre. That's not, that doesn't just happen. You have to intentionally reach out. You have to intentionally support. And I really give the credit to the people from the city of Rochester Hills, our professional team that has done a great job supporting both our residents, which we'll talk about more, and certainly supporting all of you in the business community as well. And I hope you felt it as well.
Hey, thank you. Supervisor Abadi?
Hey, thank you very much. First of all, it's very, very intimidating to have to go after these 3 gentlemen. We're a small township. We have increased the population to almost 20,000 now. Have to thank our manager, Adam Klein, and the assistant, Jamie Moore. Jamie got these answers for me, and I'll proceed.
You don't have to divulge that.
Yeah, and I have to be here after watching
We're grateful for you, Jamie.
Yeah, and I have to be here after watching that video.
Okay.
Anyway, Charter Township Oakland continues to monitor and manage development in the township. We don't look for a lot of development. Township water storage updates will be coming soon in both the southeast and southwest districts. In the effort of improving safety, there will be a new traffic light opening soon at Stony Creek Road and Rochester Road. Now, I know that's really not big news, but when you have only 5 lights in the township, 1 more is a big deal. The township also continues to work with the Oakland County Road Commission on gravel road conditions. Gravel roads have been a problem ever since I've been involved with the township. To stress their importance to the township, we continue to work to hire the first responders and fully staffed public safety personnel. We truly appreciate all who have worked tirelessly during the COVID pandemic. The township continues to evaluate public safety and is considering a millage for police. Overall, Oakland Township is a good place and ranked the 4th safest community in which to live in Michigan in 2021. I'm proud to represent the township.
Thank you. So next we're going to talk about revitalizing businesses. As you know, the Chamber is focused on economic development, business growth, and providing programs and services that enhance business potential. Given the devastating effects of the pandemic and the subsequent restrictions that were on the businesses, let's start with Mayor Barnett. What does the business climate look like in your community now, and how is your city or your township working to evolve the business climate over the next few months?
Good question. I know many of you here as supporters of the Chamber are here because you're small business owners, you're entrepreneurs, you work for organizations that do business in our city. And first, thank you. Whenever we get a chance to meet someone who's taken the time to invest in our community, we always want to say thanks first, even before we ask what you do, because you've made a decision to choose us over many other places, and we certainly appreciate that. I mentioned before in the last answer that we've seen some really great numbers. The numbers don't lie, and again, I give the credit to to the folks that are out there that are innovating their businesses. Many of you have pivoted on a dime to change what you do to meet the new demands of the marketplace, and you really deserve the credit. But a city can play a role, and our role shouldn't be to get in your business, but it should be to help in any way we can. And there are things that we can do and hopefully have done over the past 24 months. Obviously, through the Planning and Economic Development team, we handed out hundreds of thousands of dollars in grants. We went around to different restaurants and supported them in unique ways. Several of our council members stood up some very unique programs to support shopping local. We did some undercover programs to support local. We eliminated a lot of permits and fees and just tried to be as supportive as we possibly could. And I'll tell you that the future looks really good. We are so blessed. I'm reminded, and I know this isn't part of your answer or part of your question, Judge Nicholson, but I'm reminded how blessed all of us are in light of what we see happening overseas, right? I watched the news yesterday as a second mayor was abducted in Ukraine. And you think about our problems, and you think about what they're facing overseas. The city is flying the Ukrainian flag right now in support of our brothers and sisters overseas. And so you're always mindful of the fact that our problems are our problems, but they're certainly pale in comparison to our neighbors. The business climate looks great here. It really does. We have new businesses moving in from, I mentioned this one because it's fun to say, the Busted Bra, which was a great, my #1 podcast this year was having the founder of the Busted Bra on, to a new company that is doing precision tool and die from Japan, to this coming Saturday, we'll open up Von Maur, 120,000 square foot anchor tenant in the village of Rochester Hills. You're all invited. I don't know if you really are, but you are now. I know, I'm not sure, I didn't remember my notes on that, but you're all invited now, 9:30. There's going to be food and dancing and celebrities. None of that's true, but you should come. So the business climate looks great, and it's continuing on, and really we're a tremendous place to do business, hopefully because the city has created an environment for all of the fantastic entrepreneurs out here to be successful.
Great. Mayor Bixson, any new initiatives?
You do like to mention that bra thing, don't you? I noticed that.
I'm not just a fan, I'm also a client.
Now he's really going to have a kidnapping attempt.
I think I'll stop my comments right there on that one. As I said earlier, I think business in downtown Rochester is looking great. We have a 96% occupancy, or as somebody said, a 4% not occupant. But we started out 96% before the COVID, and we are now at 96% still. So we've been able to maintain our businesses, and we think because, one, we have great local businesses, a lot of them who have been around, but a lot of them are newer. We have a great DDA that has done a fabulous job. Christy Tavaro and her team have done a good job. I'm on the DDA board too, just kidding. So they did a great job with Love Local and keeping events going, and we had events that we couldn't have, that we figured out new ways to have during COVID. We'd have them outside, we'd have them up on our parking decks and things like that. The DDA in the city, as I said, we had free parking downtown for a long time, and the DDA and the city, picked up the tab on that because, of course, parking garages have to be financed and then paid for. But we've worked that out, so we're moving forward. And I think another important thing that we do is we keep our taxes low. We keep our business going well in the city. Our budgets are balanced. We're spending money on infrastructure like we should. So to me, not only do we have great businesses, but as a city, we're creating a business atmosphere where it's pro-investment, pro-business, and pro-starting your business in Rochester. So I think we did almost everything we could to help our businesses, And I think it's kind of shown because of our occupancy rate. People want to come, people want to invest, and I think the future looks very bright.
Thank you. All right, Supervisor Abadi, other than being a 6 traffic light community, what are you doing to evolve the business climate in Oakland Township?
This is a tough question. I'm sure my answer is going to be a bust after Barnett's answer here. But with very limited commercial, the Oakland.
That was really good right there. You guys, right over your head. That was well done.
Thank you.
That's well done.
Yeah. With very limited commercial, the Oakland Township business climate was largely unaffected by the pandemic. However, we're very fortunate to welcome new businesses, including popular restaurants like Lino's North and the Oakland, both at Silverbell and Adams. Private school is also being constructed on Rochester Road. And in an effort to preserve open space, the township purchased 235 acres, a parcel addition to the Lost Lake Nature Park.
Okay. So you kind of answered this next question, but let's just see if there's anything else that you want to share with us. So now that you've settled into the supervisor position for Oakland Township, and also taking into consideration the focus of Oakland Township historically hasn't necessarily been on the business climate, what direction do you see the township going in to increase your tax base for the township and maybe welcome more business in the township?
Well, that's a tough question and an unusual answer. We really like to be a rural township. Based on surveys, master plans, and feedback from residents over the years, and a lot of years since I've been involved since 1970, I do not expect the township to change direction and expand commercial. While we do not expect commercial growth, we do have residential building taking place throughout the township, including 32 homes in the Vistas on Stony Creek Road, which is a very low density. Whinstone South, located off Rochester Road and finishing in its last phase. Oakland Hunt North, phase 3, started construction last month. Building permits have remained steady and busy, and the township maintains a healthy tax base and fund balance while keeping property taxes low. Now, while we may not want a lot of commercial in our township, our township supports all these adjacent commercial.
Great, thank you. Dr. Shaner, we know it's been a roller coaster of a year for our educational system with many challenges that none of us could have ever predicted. As we attempt to return to normal, what are the most pressing issues you see for our educational system?
Well, there are many. I think often people don't realize that we're one of Oakland County's largest employers. We have 1,800 employees. We're approaching somewhere near about the size of $250 million municipal corporation. So, first and foremost, our challenge is staying focused on our mission, which is serving children, and doing that with a sustainable business model and being great stewards of the taxpayers' money and getting them a great return on their investment. So, one of the biggest challenges is managing one-time money that's coming in from the federal government with enormous amount of regulation. Sometimes the public might think that we're awash in funds because of what's in the news. Unfortunately, those funds are significantly tied to federal regulations. Some of them, as last week, have not been allocated, so the federal government tried to take them back, which have been an enormous hit to our bottom line. I think closely followed that is staffing. There's an enormous teacher shortage in this country. I think the number last week was about 850,000 fewer teachers. And when you think about all the other people that we need in terms of bus drivers, shameless plug there, if anyone would like to drive a bus, we're hiring. And we'll train you and give you a bonus, parapros, the gamut. And we've tried to increase wages to attract employees, but the reality of it is, just like many of the business leaders in this room, workforce is an enormous problem. I would say that the third challenge for us is just realizing where we're at as a community, as a society. The pandemic has been extremely difficult on everybody. and making sure that we're attending to the trauma that many people have experienced by the loss of loved ones, by the loss of a job, by significant impact of isolation and the mental health issues. That is something else that we're taking extremely seriously, not just for students, our entire community, our parents, our teachers, our entire staff, because we're really going to have to attack that problem as a community and support it as a community.
Yeah. And which is a major issue community-wide. So given the staff shortages and the workforce issues that you're experiencing, what is your plan to address the educational gaps that may naturally follow with not having the staff that you need?
Yeah, I think for us right now, we've done a really great job of bringing staff in. From the industry, basically what's happening is we are in a bidding war constantly for teachers from other districts, and there's a lot of mobility. So what we try to do is make sure it's a really attractive workplace with a great culture where people want to work and want to serve kids. In terms of academic gaps, first and foremost, we have to get the structure, the connections, the relationships right. And then we continue to look at our learning gaps and our achievement as we look forward, not only with community input, but as a team approach from across our organization. I'm really proud of the strides that we've made in literacy instruction. Long before the state ever legislated third grade reading law, we were on the forefront of that with our literacy instruction, and we continue to move forward with those initiatives. But I would be remiss if I didn't loop back around again and say the enormous need of social emotional support and those connection and relationships, not only with our students, but I'm here to tell you, my staff is tired. The kind, caring, loving people that I work with, from people that work grounds, people that work in food service, bus drivers, teachers, parapros, administrators, they answered the call, they served above and beyond the call of duty, and they're tired. So we continue to try to address that as well.
And thanks for reminding us that it's not just the teachers. There's a whole wealth of people that support the system.
It's really important. And I think later on you're going to ask me a question about roads and how it affects us. And again, it's hard for people to understand that we're just about a $250 million municipal corporation. It's a pretty large company if we were private sector. And every teammate, every team member matters in our organization.
Well, that was the perfect entree to the next question. Roads, 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 which is always seems to be an issue here in the state of Michigan. The governor, as we know, has proposed $1 billion that appears to emphasize funding for local road repairs. I'm going to ask Supervisor Abadi, what is your view as to how this can be used in Oakland Township?
Okay, well, Oakland Township continues to partner with the Road Commission to maintain our gravel roads. We have a lot of gravel roads. Plans for limestone and possible future paving are important goals, and the township would appreciate state funding to accomplish those goals. The township also recently approved rectangular, rapid, this is a little bit in line with that other stoplight, but rectangular rapid flashing beacons at school crosswalks to improve road safety. Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you. Mayor Barnett?
So, you know, it's an interesting time. In my 15 years of serving in this role, you know, there's always been incredible need, not just here in Rochester Hills, but globally for counties and for states. And for the first time ever, there are now resources because of the funding that's been unlocked both in Washington and at the state and the county level. I was one of the few Republican mayors who lobbied Washington to get direct funding for municipalities under the size of $500,000 to be able to get some of this funding. Now, once they scrubbed it through a poverty index, we didn't get as much as a lot of our neighbors, but we got about $6 million, $3 million this year, $3 million next year. And it'll help us. You know, I'm actually really proud of the roads of our city. It used to be kind of a thing that you're like, oh gosh, you know, I like all the roads in our city, just, you know, don't drive this one or that one. And our teams have done a really good job to be proactive. We have a plan right now to spend $30 million over the next couple of years in new roads. If you think kind of mentally in your mind's eye, driving through the city of Rochester Hills, I think our roads are in pretty good shape. We're getting some money from the county and some county projects. The projects next year that will be significant. The biggest one has already started. That's over by Yates. where we're kind of finally realigning and situating that in a better way for pedestrian safety. We're actually going to add some really cool, now I always call them roundabouts. Here's the only place in the city you can actually call them donuts because they're right next to Yates. But we're putting 2 donuts in to help move traffic safely there. We're going to redo Old Perch next year, and we're also going to do a section of Auburn Road between Meyer and John R. will get widened as well. So constantly reinvesting in our road network is really important. And when we ask residents about our road network, year after year, we do these statistical studies through Oakland University, and it's been a positive trend line over the last 10 years from where they think our roads are. So our council is investing in it, and our residents are seeing it and appreciating it.
Okay, great, thank you. Mayor Bixson?
Yes, you know, I hear $1 billion coming in roads, and it seems like I've heard that before. But we're hopeful. We're always hopeful. We, of course, think that our roads are pretty good. Our city council has been focused on putting a lot of money into fixing up the roads. But, of course, there's always more that can be done, so any help from the federal government or the state government would be greatly appreciated. One thing that we try to do with our city is we try to leverage our dollars as well as possible. If we're going to do a road, we can maybe marry it with the water and the sewer and get some of those funds and try to do, you know, the most efficient job that we possibly can. So we work very hard at doing that, and I think we've done a pretty good job. We have some projects coming up this year on the west side of town, Helen Street, 4th Street, you know, over by Ascension, Crittenden I almost said. You know, that, and then the thing we're planning on is the big thing that's coming up is in 2024, but we're in the process of planning for it now, is the redo of North Main Street from basically the Dairy Queen up to Tinkin. And yeah, don't groan because I live there. I live right there too. And then we're also going to redo the intersection at the Dairy Queen, which has, you know, been a unsafe kind of area, seems like, for a long time. So those are kind of 2 of the big things coming. But again, roads is something that roads and infrastructure kind of go together, and that's something our city council is very focused on.
If you improve people's ice cream eating experience, that's good government. I can really appreciate that investment.
I just don't want anybody to see me driving into Dairy Queen and driving out. So, Dr. Shaner, you kind of touched on this a little bit already, but is there anything else that you want to share with us in terms of the impact the roads have had on the schools and any of these improvements that they've mentioned, how they will assist the bus drivers and getting the kids to and from school safely?
Well, first of all, on behalf of the board and our entire organization, I want to just thank Brian and Stuart and everyone up here for the partnership with the roads. Recently, we've been able to put some flashing signs in to help with some pedestrian traffic. I know Brian's team particularly helps us with some traffic engineering studies to make things better around Adams High School. And all of that is really important because sometimes things are counterintuitive. For instance, for a long time, people thought we needed another light near Adams High School. And the traffic engineer actually told us that that would be the exact wrong thing to do there and that we may need to change some different traffic flows and change the way the road's designed. So I just really want to appreciate the partnership with the city, and as we meet the challenges of the roads and the traffic flow in the city.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, we're going to shift gears a little bit and start talking about the future, from the pandemic now to whatever normal is. I mean, as everybody was networking and talking this morning, I think one of the most common conversations we've all had is, are you getting back to normal? And what is that normal? So let's talk about transitioning into those normal operations from the pandemic restrictions within each of your communities. How is it going in your community, and what challenges are you still facing? So, Mayor Bixson, if you'll go first, please.
Well, I think one of the challenges we all saw today was I think we all thought we were going to come here without masks, and then we had to wear masks, which, you know, I'm perfectly fine with. So, I mean, we're still going through that. You go in, you know, restaurants and businesses are still struggling with people wearing masks and not wearing masks. But hopefully, as the numbers keep going down, that's not going to be as much of an issue. I think our again, I think our city under our city manager, Blaine Wing, did a great job in allowing people to work from home during COVID and really being, COVID diligent. Most of the staff is back now, and City Hall is open, and people are allowed to wear masks if they choose, which again I think is fair. Our city council just recently has gotten back to where we're up on our normal city council chambers, and people can come in. Our planning commission, our DDA, all those are like that. But we are offering our other city boards and commissions the option of doing virtual if they would like, at least for now. So I mean, we're trying to be cognizant of people still being a little afraid, but also cognizant of getting back to work. And so I think all phases of business are making progress, but it's a difficult process to go from one extreme to another. But I think our city is doing a pretty good job. And again, part of the opening up of Rochester is people feeling safe and coming back. And I think people, because of the job we've done and the businesses that we've done, I think people are feeling safe now.
Okay, Mayor Barnett, what are you finding in terms of, if you take the temperature of your community, are they preferring in-person communication versus online? Has any of that changed at all as it relates to your servicing the community from the City Hall?
Yeah, so I think as evidenced here, and I don't want to speak for myself, but this is a community that thrives on in-person. We like to be together. We have so many events, and we really celebrate that as a community. And it was hard over the last couple of years to not do this. I think the fact you have a full house today kind of speaks to the fact that we like to come together as a community. It's interesting, the pandemic, there's so many lessons from the pandemic in every aspect, right? And all of you in your business arrangements have probably, you do things differently, right? You've learned to either service customers differently. I see team members from our building department here in the back. They used to do all these inspections. They'd go in and they'd look at things. Now we do a lot of building inspections virtually, and we're going to keep doing them virtually because it's cheaper and it's quicker and it's more convenient. And you probably, all of you have similar stories about how you've sort of transitioned to recognize these things. I mean, generally people like to be together, but it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with the work environment. I was talking with some of my colleagues about how downtowns are changing, not so much like downtown Rochester, but think downtown Detroit. How many people don't drive that commute to downtown Detroit anymore, and the impact it has on the hotels and the businesses and the restaurants and the dry cleaners. More people are staying in the suburbs, if they can commute and work from home, and bigger companies are coming back 2 days a week, 3 days a week. There is a unique opportunity for communities like ours to excel and to take advantage of that. It's one of the reasons why I think we are so proud of the investment that we made in the teeth of the pandemic to improve both the Auburn Road Corridor and Innovation Hills, investing in community. Because that is really what people are going to listen. If I can work remotely and live anywhere I want, it's not so important to me that my commute is 45 minutes to the city of Detroit. I'm going to spend more time here, and we're in a position to really take advantage of that. I say one last quick thing. I was at South by Southwest yesterday, and I stopped by a booth from Tulsa. And Tulsa has this program where they're trying to attract people. And you know what they do for businesses if you work remote? They'll pay you $10,000 to do the same job you're doing, but live in Tulsa. And they're attracting hundreds of people each month. And it's a unique, aggressive way that they're taking advantage of what I just said. Lower cost of living, you like the amenities maybe. You never think in your life about living in Tulsa, but if someone's going to pay you and your job allows you to work remote, that's what we have to do. We have to creatively think about how we're going to keep and attract residents to our community by some of these innovative methods.
Oh, did Tulsa need a district court judge? My colleagues are here too. They're raising their hands as well.
I mean, 10 grand, it's still Tulsa, but 25, maybe. I'll think about it.
Supervisor Abadi, I know that you came into this position during the pandemic. What have you noticed in terms of any challenges going forward for your community to transition from the pandemic to somewhat normal operations?
Okay, well, first of all, I'm happy to be able to have in-person meetings. I had trouble with those meetings online. But one of the things that, in addition to what Mayor Bixson had said, one of the problems we have is public safety. They've stayed busy throughout the pandemic, and hiring public safety is a current challenge. Emergency call numbers are still up, While the strain on our public safety personnel has increased, our staffing levels have remained virtually the same, if not less at times. The township and our neighboring communities continue to work together on mutual aid.
Okay, great. So in talking along these same lines, has it been more difficult for you to attract and retain staff because they want that flexibility of remote working from home versus in person, or has it not changed at all, Mayor Barnett?
I could guarantee I could get a standing ovation from the two Rochester Hills tables if I said we're going to go, remote work. Yeah, see, there's some. Yeah, see, that's. Bam, you're fired. It's a balance, right? I mean, we're city government, so we always read the, Crane's, 100 coolest companies, and there's a lot of unique things that they do, and we try to pull things from that, but, we can't close, every Thursday and Friday in the summer because our residents expect a level of service, and so we have to sort of marry the innovative things that private sector companies are doing with trying to be an innovative public sector company. And so, yeah, I mean, we've experienced a lot. We try to preach flexibility. We have a premium pay philosophy at the city where we try to pay our employees a little bit more than the municipal average because we want the best of the best, and we've been able to attract a lot of people in that way. Chelsea, our HR director, is here. But this, this is a fight for employees. You see the market. I told you that our unemployment rate is down. That's great. But the folks in the market looking for jobs is also really down. So we can't find crossing guards. We can't find lifeguards. We have a hard time finding qualified folks, as many of our businesses are. So you either have to reinvent yourself and be innovative and not be, the dark suit, dark tie, municipal government of the past, or you will get left behind. And
like Dr. Shaner and Mayor Bixson.
You got to be the cowboy boot wearing, no tie wearing, innovative government of the future. I don't know. But you have to reinvent yourself. Sorry, Stuart, and everyone else wearing a tie up here. I should have looked around.
All right. Mayor Bixson, how about with the city of Rochester?
Mayor Bixson has no comments.
See, he and I got elected the same year, so I'll just think we've been going through this for a long time, or I've been having to tolerate this for a long time, right? It's very interesting. As many of you know, I've been on the city council a long time. For years and years, I used to say, we don't even need to do a benchmark study because nobody leaves the city of Rochester. It's a great place to work. We have great benefits. We have great retirement. Nobody leaves. If they come to our DPW, they're there for life. Well, that's like everything else. That's changed. Our pension situation is different, and some of that, and so now we have to fight for employees just like everybody else. And we have trouble getting people in the summer to cut the grass. We have trouble, we get really good people and they move away for a lot more money and things. So we are having to do that as well. We are trying to be innovative. We are actually tonight we have a city council meeting where we're looking at potentially adjusting some salaries to try to be more competitive. And again, we have to offer, maybe working home a few days, maybe have some more innovation ideas and things. So yeah, so we're right with you and right with a lot of the businesses. We're having those same problems, and we really never really had those before. So that's something our city really is grappling with and trying to be innovative with.
Dominic, what about you? How's it going in Oakland Township with these challenges?
Well, it's going well. We have a great staff, but it's small. Some of that staff is logistically unable to work from home. We've taken measures to retain staff because of that. The township also accommodates working from home when the position lends itself to remote work, if employees have COVID or COVID exposure. Overall, hiring and employee retention have been a challenge during the mandate.
Thank you. All right, we do have some questions from the audience that I'm going to go ahead and read now. So you ready? All right. The first one is, and I'm going to, in terms of answering them, if we could just start with Dominic Abadi and then work our way down. What are you doing for conservation, green stormwater, infrastructure practices, and sustainability in your city or your township?
Well, our Parks Commission is very proud of all the land they've acquired, Township has acquired. We continue to acquire land. The 235 acres mentioned up north part. But our township values our resources, and we just continue to stay the course and do what we've been doing.
Okay. Brian?
Yeah, so a lot of ways to answer this question. Everything from the city getting electric vehicles to we just closed last week on another 10-acre green space purchase on the southwest corner of town. To generally anything that we build now is built. Think City Hall, think Innovation Hills is built with conservation in mind, keeping as much of the natural areas as possible. We've strengthened our tree ordinance. We've added rain gardens. We've really tried to be intentional in just about every aspect of development because from energy efficiency. Retrofits at City Hall to almost all of our buildings, you have to. I mean, you have to. If you have a community that demands it, that looks to see if you're leading by example, and I think we have a lot of places where we're doing that, everything from recreation to even the way we plow streets.
Okay. Thank you. Mayor Bixham?
Yeah, the same with us. We're a Tree City America. We have a tree committee with, actually, Councilmember Albrecht is kind of our tree guy that we go to. So we really believe in that. We have Marilyn Trent and her pollinator garden is in Rochester, and we take credit for Marilyn being in town, and that's really grown. We have a big park there. We're doing everything we can with our parks and stuff. We have electric vehicles, so we're trying to do everything we can for sustainability and protect the environment.
Okay. And Dr. Shaner, anything going on in the schools when it comes to environmental sustainability?
Yeah, I think we can talk about our Green School Initiative that we're a great partner with the city on. But also, I think it's important for people to know, again, just things people don't think about. We've, through bond money and sinking fund money, we've been able to modernize not only our maintenance facilities, but if you notice, the bus garage on Livernois has finally been modernized, which makes it a lot more efficient, a lot more conservation friendly in terms of runoff and stormwater. And this is the first time in Rochester Community Schools history, I would say recent history, where the bus fleet is modernized and is almost entirely gasoline now rather than diesel, which is, believe it or not, much more efficient and better for the environment. And we're finally on a schedule. We're replacing buses when they're at the end of their life, and we're not extending buses' lives beyond what they should be, which is bad for the environment and potentially a safety issue.
Great, thank you.
Judge Nicholson, just a 10-second thing that Dr. Shaner reminded me. The Green Schools program, if any of you live in Rochester Hills and have Recycle Bank, it's launching, Maria, next week? Next week, you can donate your points, and all that money goes to the schools. And over the last number of years, we've donated over $125,000
really cool
for
projects.
green projects in the schools. So you want to leave here with homework today, go home next week, donate your Recycle Bank points to the Green Schools program. Bob gets that money.
Great, good to know. All right, Mayor Barnett, we have an audience member that obviously took note of your cowboy boots before you brought it to our attention.
Oh.
And the question is, if your cowboy boots could talk, what would they say?
Ouch, probably.
Ouch.
That is a really interesting question. I'm glad they can't talk. They probably would say, "Wow, we've been a lot of places in the last 72 hours." But I don't know. I used to be a line dance guy back in the day. I used to still enjoy country music, but I haven't worn cowboy boots in a long time. I got this Yellowstone thing, and so I tried to dress the part with them today. But
we got it. Thank
really
you.
Great question from whoever asked that. Whoever asked it, I'll let you wear them and smell them afterwards if you'd like.
All right, the next question for you, Mayor Barnett, is what is going in at the old KFC off Rochester Road? And the second question is what is going in at Avon and Rochester Road, the gas station and IDI location?
Okay, so the KFC building there just next to Gold Star is a Savvy Sliders, which is a chain of, hopefully you guys get it from the name, but a chain of sliders that is owned by, property owned by the folks, the Sinai family. I don't know if they're here, usually they're here, it's good chamber members that own the Tim Hortons. So they're a great family that's continuing their investment in the city. And at the corner of Avon and Rochester, across from Leader Dogs for the Blind, if you're a giant fan of that old gas station, I'm sorry, it's going away. And we're getting the same owner that owns the Starbucks building on where Premier Pet is, and at Auburn and Rochester Road is doing a similar concept at the gas station and the International Diamond Importers building. So that's going to get cleaned up, less ingress, egress, and a nice development there as well. I think at the moment we have 4 Starbucks coming into the city. Is that right? 4 new? 3. 3 new Starbucks. I don't drink coffee, so I could give a rip. But there's 3 new Starbucks coming into the city. So that's a lot of new investment coming if you're a coffee lover.
Thank you. All right, this one is for everybody, the community leaders. What is your position on allowing medical marijuana dispensaries to operate in your community? Mayor Bixson, if you want to start with that one.
I guess you call me old-fashioned, but I'm not a big fan of that, and I hope we don't have any.
Mayor Barnett?
I always say Rochester would be a great spot for it. They got those parking garages. You could just... No, so this is interesting. I mean, I heard the start of applause, so you know where the crowd is. Our city council, and I have been opposed to it in our city. We're not in a position where we need the tax revenue. I would say, however, that in most communities, when it's put before the voters, it passes, even in conservative communities like Rochester and Rochester Hills. And as you know, in Rochester Hills, I think the voter initiative passed by about 6 points. So, we don't need it. We're not encouraging it. When people call, we tell them it's not happening in our city. But, it is something that generally, in most communities, even conservative communities like ours, it is passing when it goes before the voters. So something to be thinking about.
Supervisor Abadi?
Well, being like Mayor Bixson, old-fashioned, I don't support it.
Okay, thank you. All right, 2 last questions for all of you. Who is your bracket pick winner for the NCAA tournament? Mayor Barnett.
Oakland University.
Good answer. Mayor.
No, geez, you have to go Michigan or Michigan State. I'm a home skillet, so one of those 2.
Michigan State's out, aren't they? Yeah. How about Mayor Bixson?
Did Michigan State even make the tournament?
Well, no, they made it.
Oh.
They made it.
Oh, yeah. So I would go with Michigan. I know our coach has calmed down, so I think we're ready to move forward.
Okay, how about you, Dr. Shaner?
To go with Sparty.
And who did you pick, Supervisor Abadi?
I'll say Michigan.
Okay. I think Michigan's out too, aren't they? Barely hanging on. You noticed what color I'm wearing today. So we're just going to take 1 minute and have each of you summarize the 2 to 3 most important developments in your community that you have not already talked about. Go ahead, Mayor Bixson.
Had to call on me first. I can't remember which ones I've talked about, but I think one of the big ones is I did talk about a little bit is the Riverwalk that's going to be down on the plot just south under the bridge south, and really what it is it's a property that wasn't being used efficiently. It was kind of a mess. We're going to have a big development there that's good for some of the housing that we need, and also good for our downtown to have the walkability. And then, as I said, the big thing with us was PAR. Their big investment in their warehouse, and again, they're our biggest employer. They're a great partner for us, and so kind of really those are 2 really big investments that are coming into town that just really show what we're thinking is that Rochester's back.
Okay. And Supervisor Abadi?
Yeah, I don't think we have any big developments.
Well, you got
coming.
the traffic light.
Oh, that traffic light, yeah.
It's probably a stop
and
sign or a light coming
the
sign
flashing
too.
lights also for the school crossing. But other than that, that's it.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
we're happy with it.
All right, thank you. Mayor Barnett?
Well, you very rarely do you disobey a judge's orders, so some of you know that more than you should.
You're going to repeat, right?
I am. Only because the two projects that are, that we did last year that I just briefly mentioned are historic. They will change the course of our city forever. And we did them both in the pandemic. If you haven't driven Auburn Road and seen it recently, it's crazy. You wouldn't believe it's even the same place it was, and I see some head nods out there. There's more coming. There's a new Mexican restaurant coming. There's a new 3-story development coming. We just picked up 3 new parcels for adding parking there. We are revolutionizing the Brooklands, and they're seeing the highest property value increases anywhere in the city. Get down to Auburn Road and check it out. It's amazing. And then, of course, I'm exceptionally personally proud of Innovation Hills. By the way, that Auburn Road project, there's a trophy here somewhere. It won the coolest project in the state of Michigan last year. So, I can tell you those things, but when when the state says it and your peers vote on it, that's another thing. And the last thing is Innovation Hills. How many of you have been to Innovation Hills? Do you like it? Well, that's awesome, because that's another thing that when people are staying closer to home, realizing our parks attendance is up through the roof year over year over year. Investments in parks are paying off. We created the most innovative new park. Little Tykes called it the coolest playground in the state of Michigan, and we're proud to have that here. Those two projects have changed the future of our city, and I'm proud of both of them.
Yep. And you forgot the pickleball courts.
Yes. And we have new pickleball courts for an older generation.
Oh, you're lucky we're done.
Can I say no pickleball courts yet in Rochester? Keep the tennis.
The tennis player. Well, I just want to say thank you to all of our panelists, and on behalf of the Rochester Regional Chamber of Commerce, we appreciate your continued support of the Chamber and for this event, and we also appreciate all of you attending today. I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge Maggie. Maggie has done a great job setting this up. This wasn't easy, trying to get everything back to normal. Thank you, Maggie. And in fact, we had a sold-out crowd today. So great work, and keep it up. And everybody have a great day and enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you.